Man, first of all, thanks for everything you've done for me. And
Hey man, you're a great client to have. It's a
no,
pleasure working for
no,
someone
thank
that
you,
is
thank
going
you,
to mix records every
thank you.
day and turn out great work.
The most important tool you can have in the studio is a great set of monitors. If you've got a set of monitors that are lying to you, it's just hard to get reality. That's a mixed metaphor. I don't. But anyway.
I actually have a couple quick questions for you, Dave,
Oh, good.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, you've had them now a year. Where do you see yourself using a speaker of that size?
Okay.
Sometimes people say, how do you get precision on such a big driver?
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Well, as you know, I don't do short answers. I like to listen to my mixes as I'm doing them on multiple pairs of speakers, and those of you that have followed me for a while, you've noticed I've gone through a lot of speakers in the last 10 years. And the one thing I like about my speakers, your speakers, is that they work good at every volume. So instead of going to another speaker to hear something that sounds more near-fieldish, if there's an adjective like that, or would that be an adverb? I find myself on the Augspurgers using them at a lower level than I would normally use the ones that I used at Larrabee and Enterprise and Conway and all the other studios I worked at Record Plant. So I can actually take them, lower them, and normally what would happen in that situation is the high and the low end would fade, but when I lower my 15s, it stays at the same curve, so that allows me to use them a little longer, and now different volumes give me different information, the same way as if I went to a different speaker. You'll notice several speakers behind me, and I use those in the same way that you would use a traditional near field. You get different information from different speakers at different volumes. I like to use the same volume as I'm working mostly throughout the day, and near the end of a process, like say at the end of the process of working with vocals, I might turn it up or down just to hear how things change. Because what we're trying to do as a mix engineer is we're trying to create a mix that's going to sound good everywhere. So I've got to sound good in a car, I've got to sound good on earbuds, I've got to sound good on headphones, I've got to sound good on stereo systems, and of course I've got to impress my mixer friends. So it's hard to do that, and I wish one of our congressmen or presidents would pass a law that we all had to use the same exact set of speakers, and then I could kill the world with my mixes. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Then everyone hears it the way you heard it.
And so that should be the silver speakers you see behind you. That'd be a great thing, wouldn't it? If everybody had a pair of those.
Definitely, let's legislate that for sure.
But for me, I've got two requirements from a speaker. I like them to act as a microscope where I can put my mix under this microscope, I can analyze, and then I construct all this back together, and then that sounds great, and then hopefully, and then the other way I like to use my speakers is if it's the everyman room. So it gives me a great approximation of what it's going to sound like anywhere it's listened to, and that combination I've always had to get more than one set of speakers to do, my microscopic speakers and my everyman room speakers, but with my 15s, I can do that in the same speaker. I do use other speakers, but I'm pretty partial to those. It took me, gosh, I guess it took me about 2 weeks to trust them, and normally it would take me about 6 weeks to trust a pair of speakers. I was looking for an alternative to the NS10s, which I'd been using since the beginning of my career. And one of the things that NS10s get a bad rap about is the mid-range, but that's what I liked about them. 90% of my useful information is in the mid-range, the speech area, or the Fletcher-Munson area if you prefer. And they pushed that out so I could hear it and manipulate it better, but they weren't a great everyman representation, every room representation. And by the way, we forgot about this. In the studio here, There's a great representation of speakers that Dave designed. Sean's got 12 inches, a 12-inch speaker in his room with a
Solo 12 MF.
Solo 12.
And he's got, I think, 18 subs.
He's got the 18 sub, and then Michele Canova has the dual 8s with a
12-inch subs.
12-inch subs, and they all sound amazing. In fact, I've listened quite a lot to all those systems, and you couldn't go wrong with any of them. If you want to get in touch with Dave via the Augspurger website, Augspurger. I never say it that way.
Augspurger.
Yeah, Augspurger. But get in touch with him, and he'll help you choose the right system for your room. I've known this man a long time. He's not going to sell you something you don't need, but can help you tailor a system for your needs now, and then you can grow with those speakers. They're not they're not a one-time in a little room speaker or a big room speaker. They really travel well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and sometimes people ask, like, why would I choose a Duo 8 or why would I choose the Solo 15? And a lot of times it's about the room size, the positioning. Sometimes it's about the material. The Duo 8 has extreme mid-range detail, but whereas the single 15 type system has a certain kind of low mid-range detail. And when you were talking about the NS10, I think everyone who's ever used that speaker realized there's so much information in the mid-range, and that's what made it so great.
Yeah.
I find these speakers have a similar kind of ability to have extreme detail in an area that's hard to get detail in. That sort of low mid place where things can get cloudy, or they can overtake the vocal, or and I think they just give you more information there. The other thing that I've discovered in my time is that phase coherency and timing of a system are sometimes more important than the frequency response, because how we perceive those frequencies is all about how they...
In mixing more and more and more, because there's less live elements that perform in the mixes I'm getting, and more programmed elements. I'm finding a lot of phase things, but not just 180 phase, but less than 180 phase, and we've got tools now where we can manipulate that, and if you don't have those tools, you can just slide your track a little bit forward or backwards, and you'll feel your image come alive, and you'll feel your sound come alive. And when I say slide the track, we're talking samples in most cases, a number of samples. But well, Dave, I got to run.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much.
Well, I can see you again.
Well, my plan is to be out here in LA every 6 or 8 weeks for a week, so we can take another measurement, maybe around NAMM time, and double check them.
Would it be fair to say that you consider your work a part of you, an extension of you, and you keep up with us. You check on us. You come in and help us out when we need you to come. You're always there. Bob Horn had a malfunction because of a power outage. You had him something that afternoon, and then you followed up with coming out and checking it.
Well, there's a lot of care that's gone into the to making them, but I also, we feel kind of connected to every one of our clients that have them. Partly, because of the tuning and trying to understand how they're working as a tool, and also because it's an investment that you make that we intend you to have for life. It's not something like that you're going to dispose of. It's something that you're going to care for, and we care about it, and we have a family vibe with our clients.
100%, 100%.
And it's
So would I qualify your son, your father, your grandfather, your niece? I mean, what
cousins.
Part of your family I am?
We're
cousins?
We're cousins.
All right, amigo. Muchas gracias.
And brothers.
Hey, guys, thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for checking us out, man.